Once you have everything planned out, here's my goal, here's the objectives and the strategies that I'm going to implement in order to do it. You need to have a detailed step-by-step action plan. And I recommend creating your plan on a quarterly basis because sometimes things can be really fluid and change. So you don't want a step-by-step plan for 365 days. But for the next 90 days, here are the actual tasks. I'm talking about down to the task level. Here are the actual things that I'm going to do. I'm going to post on LinkedIn every single day. I recommend that people take this and put it in their project management software so they can track it, get alerts, and then it makes it easier to assign to other people.
Hey, Trailblazers, welcome to another episode of Event Gems. I am super excited to introduce or reintroduce you to my next guest, Tonya Harrison of Cignal Partners. She teaches solopreneurs and nonprofits how to transform their businesses into profitable and high-performance solutions using precision planning and systems. Now, one of the amazing things that Tonya helps her clients with this precision planning method is that it has increased their revenue by as much as 3 times within the first 90 days of implementing their plans. Now, can somebody get excited about that? Can you get excited about that? Who doesn't want to 3x their revenue within the first 90 days? Let me welcome one of my biz besties, Tonya Harrison, to the Event Gems podcast. Hey, Tonya.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I am so excited now. I am always reaching out to Tonya, asking her, hey, what tool should I use? So that's why as we go into 2023 and we're talking about strategic plans or how to, map out your plans and stick to your goals, I really wanted to have Tonya on here today. But before we get started with all the juicy information about business, planning, strategy, all that good stuff, I want to do a quick game of this and that with Tonya so we can get to know her a little bit better. So, Tonya, are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
Okay, all right. So, first thing that comes to mind, first one is vacation or staycation?
Staycation.
All right, Netflix or Hulu?
Hulu.
Ooh, I'm so surprised by that. All right, morning or night?
Morning.
Rich and famous or rich and unknown?
Rich and unknown.
And then the last one, passenger or driver?
Driver.
So just wanted to quickly learn a little bit more about you before we got into the conversation. So tell us a bit about you and your business and how you started with the Cignal Partners that you have today.
So first of all, Cignal Partners has gone through a couple of iterations, right? It didn't start out where it is, but I guess that's to be said about most businesses. So I worked in corporate several years working in operations. So I oversaw our operations areas and mentored a lot of women. So initially when I started my business, I thought I wanted to mentor and do career coaching and professional coaching and things like that. But then I quickly realized that my heart was really in operations and I want to see small businesses be able to compete and thrive within whatever industries they decide to go into. So we have been strong in operations. My background from corporate is operations. So it is definitely my love. And I love seeing, like I said, small businesses, primarily micro businesses. So if it's just you or, 5 people on your team, that's my sweet spot. That's how I got started and still here.
I love it. I love it. I feel like that's one of the things with my business. It's like a constant iteration, and I always feel like the diamond butterfly is such a perfect name for my business because I feel like I'm constantly going through this transformation and pivots and offering new services and making that be like the main thing. And I'm like, oh, once again, here's another main thing, So I think it's so important for business owners to keep that in mind. It's like,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to pivot and shift
No.
if you feel like something is not working for you. And I feel like that leads us into this next part of the conversation around planning. What is precision planning? What does that even mean? And how is
So
that different than you just planning, related to your goals and you being precise? I'm imagining, with how you plan.
that's exactly it. It's
Okay.
helping you to be more precise in achieving the goals that you want to achieve within your business. So precision planning, right? Even though it is planning, it's a lot more than that. It's helping you to really get in touch with your business, become more intimate with what's going on, where you are, where you want to go, and what does it take in order for you to get there. So it brings in all of the components of planning. You know what I mean? Identifying your goals, creating an action plan, which is a step-by-step plan, assigning responsibility, determining what metrics you need to measure in order to achieve your goal. So all of that is included, and it is about being as precise as possible, right? Because we don't want to leave a bunch of things to chance. We want to be on point. Here's where I'm going. Here's how I'm going to get there. Here's how I'm going to know if I'm on the right path or not. And that's what precision planning is all about.
Oh, that's so good. It's kind of like as we were talking about whether you want to be in the driver's seat or the passenger seat,
Yeah,
it's like okay, you're on this journey, you're going to this particular destination. You have your GPS, your coordinates. So it really sounds like precision planning is those coordinates, but also all the other elements that come into you like planning that trip. Are you gonna rent a car? Are you
that's right.
going to take a plane? Like all those things. Like how do you get to that destination? So then how do we break down those particular pieces? How does that relate to goal setting, right? Do you set your goal first, then you break out that plan, and then you have those precise metrics? So how do you really come up with those precise metrics that you need and really fine tune your precision plan?
The first thing is about understanding and identifying the cornerstone of your business. So, what is your vision, your mission, your core values? Everything starts with that because that's the foundational piece. Based on that, that's how you're going to decide what your goals are. So many times we start goal setting, but we don't have a vision. We don't even know where it is that we want to go. You know what I mean? So that needs to be
Oh, that's a
established
gem right there.
first.
That's a gem right there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
really thinking about like your overall business and mission and where the business is going before you even set the goals.
right.
So basically what I'm hearing is these steps. All right. So have a mission for your business, have a direction or growth plan for your business, and then from there you set the goal for your business. Okay.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Those things
Okay.
need to be established first, and
Okay.
then you can start setting goals. So one thing that I wanted to say is when you establish that vision, right? Even though that vision may be out, you know what I mean, 3 to 5 years, you are still going to set goals every year, right? Because now it becomes like milestones in order to get to that, right? But you have to have something in focus. You have to have a target that you want to achieve. And so many times we say, oh, I want to make six figures. But why do you want to make six figures? What does six figures do for you? What's the impact? Because understanding that and giving your goals purpose, that is going to help drive you in times where you are not motivated.
Hmm. That's
So
good. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is pain pushes you until the vision pulls you.
that's,
And and I
I
feel
love
like that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like if you don't have that vision to really pull you towards the future, then you're not going to want to set the goal. You're not going to want to execute on the plan, right?
it.
So what are some key metrics that we should be looking out for as we're planning? Are quarterly, well, planning yearly and quarterly, monthly, weekly? What are some key things that we need to be looking out for?
So one of the things that I recommend is that you break down your metrics into different categories, right? So you're going to have three different categories. The first one is standards for your business. This is specific to your business, and this could be like, I'm going to make sure all products are shipped within 3 business days, or I'm going to deliver websites within 21 business days. So those are standards that you develop for your business for how you want your business to run. Um, the second types of metrics that you want to have in your business are industry standard metrics. So based on the industry that you're in, you may need to track specific things, and understanding that is going to be extremely important, right? So if I am a coach or a service-based provider and I do discovery calls, I'm going to want to track the number of discovery calls and what my conversion rate is, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I am, e-commerce, I'm going to be tracking visits or average order value and things like that. The third category of metrics are business as usual. How do I know that my business is on course, right? How do I know it's functioning as it needs to be and things are going on as they need to be going? So these are your day-to-day things. So again, as a consultant or a coach, you may be tracking the number of people that come to your website. You know what I mean? You're going to be tracking your social media engagement and stuff like that. So those are the three different categories of metrics. And you want to make sure that they are as applicable to you and your business as possible. Every metric doesn't apply to every business, but there are some that are standard. Like you're just going to track your revenue, you're going to track your profit margin. Those are like things like as a business owner, you want to know.
So, how do events fall into the overall strategic plan that someone might have for their business? Or what's the best way for them to incorporate it?
So, I definitely think that events need to be planned out in advance, right? So, there are so many things that I took from my corporate life. And one of the things was they would start planning events like the year before. So I definitely think that that needs to be taken into consideration. So sit down with a calendar, right? So once you establish what your growth goal is, because that is going to be the thing that's going to drive it. And then what are those supporting goals that are going to help you get to this growth goal? And if a part of them are events, then you need to be sitting down with a calendar and mapping out when am I going to have these events. And regardless of sometimes we think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Even if it's a workshop or a live event, whatever it is, you need to be planning for it. And I would sit down with a calendar and outline what days I want these events to occur, what quarters, you know what I mean, and get as close as possible and make them a part of your planning process. That's the best time to do it. And at that time, you can start establishing some of the metrics around them. So it's already done, right? So what you want your plan to do is you want it to allow you the freedom to execute. So once I plan all of these things out, then it becomes I'm going at it. I'm executing, right? So many times it's hard for us to execute because we haven't planned appropriately. And I'm
Correct.
talking about details.
Guilty, guilty, guilty. Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like sometimes you're not sure, okay, well, what is the main thing that I should be working on in my business right now? Because sometimes we can get caught up in the busy work of it all. I am doing so much. I am so busy doing all of the things, right? But you're not being strategic about the work that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people might think about events as it being this big thing. It's a conference or it's a huge summit, but events is anything that you're going to be utilizing to really launch something in your business. Having a workshop or a webinar, how are you incorporating those things within your overall strategic plan is also important for some of those key metrics that you might want to hit. So instead of the one-to-one call, you might have 20 people on your workshop, and here you go. So we've planned it out. Now we need to talk about the execution. Have the plan, you have the goal that you want to accomplish, you have the plan for accomplishing it, but then you don't actually execute on said plan. So do you have any tips for us as to how we can get out of our own way and actually just get the thing done?
Yeah. So I actually have a couple of tips, right? The first
Okay.
thing is make room for your goals. So many times what we do is we establish a goal and we just slap it on top of everything else that we're doing. And that normally doesn't really, it doesn't work well. So you need
I'm
to
like, let
make
me bring that
room.
back. Make room for your goals. That's a gem right there. I
Yeah.
love that. Make room for your goals. All right, go ahead. Explain what that
Yeah.
means.
So, and what that may look like is establishing boundaries and what things you're going to say no to and what things you're going to say yes to. You may need to restructure your business, right? What things can you delegate? All of those things come into play when you are thinking about making room for your goal. So that's the number one thing that we need to do. The other thing is once you have everything planned out, here's my goal, Here's the objectives and the strategies that I'm going to implement in order to do it. You need to have a detailed step-by-step action plan. And I recommend creating your plan on a quarterly basis, because sometimes things can be really fluid and change. So you don't want a step-by-step plan for 365 days. But for the next 90 days, here are the actual tasks. I'm talking about down to the task level. Here are the actual things that I'm going to do. I'm going to post on LinkedIn every single day. I'm going, you know what I mean? Like step by step. I recommend that people take this and put it in their project management software so they can track it, get alerts, and all of those things like that. And then it makes it easier to assign to other people. So if there are some things that you're delegating, it makes it extremely easy to delegate those things. And the last thing I would say is give yourself grace. Everything is not going to be perfect. It just, I don't care how much planning, and I love planning, but I don't care how much planning you do, everything is not going to be perfect. So you have to be able to give yourself grace, right? So, oh, I didn't do everything I needed to do. Okay, how do I bounce back from that and move forward? Because the idea is not to continue down that path, but don't beat yourself out about it. Assess it. Where did I go wrong? What can I do better? And let's keep it moving.
Yeah, that is so good. Yeah, maybe I missed the task for today, but I can catch up on it tomorrow and that other task that I'm supposed to have. And I love that you talk about the project management tool, which, again, that was one of the things that Tonya recommended to me. I was using a project management tool before, and the one that I'm using right now, which is ClickUp, I really love because I feel like it's a lot more robust and you can stylize it in the way that works best for you and how your brain works. So that's why I really love that. I like that you also said break it down to every single task. And I think what I like about that is that by going through every single task, I think it's twofold, right? I almost feel like on the one hand, by going through every single task, you might feel overwhelmed, right? You might feel overwhelmed and be like, oh no, should I be really doing this? This seems like a lot. Maybe I'm not ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or by going through every single task, it might be where you feel like, okay, this is more manageable than I probably thought it was before. I just need to do these things in order for me to accomplish the goal. So, can you talk to both of those people? The one who might be like, oh my God, this feels like too much, and the other one who's like, all right, this makes it more manageable. How do you
Yeah.
deal with that?
So let me start with the people who may get a little overwhelmed with it. I want you to think about the times that you have gotten to your desk and you didn't have a plan and what happened. A lot of times we end up losing time and energy because I don't know what I'm supposed to do today, right? So I get to my desk and I start winging it. And before you know it, you're strolling through social media, right? Because nothing has been planned out. So what I want to say is that if you miss a step, that's okay. Go back and add it when you realize you miss it. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, right? But you do want to start somewhere. And if 90 days is too much, start with the first week. This week, here's what I'm going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like every single day, or whatever days or hours that you work within your business. So start where you are, which could be to start small and then expand from there. Don't allow it to overwhelm you and don't allow it to stop you, right? Even if you have to start day by day. So on Sunday night, I'm saying, okay, here's Monday. Here's what I need to be doing on Monday, step by step, and blocking it out on your calendar. Now,
Yeah, I love that. It's essentially, start where you are. And it's also like that now you have the opportunity to start exercising that muscle, right? It's like, all right, well, I was able to get through the week. Maybe I could get
right.
through 2 weeks. Maybe I could get through 3 weeks. I could get through a month. I could get through a quarter. I could get through, a year. So I love that you said, break it down into more manageable steps so that do what works best for you so that you don't feel overwhelmed, but you actually still get the planning done. Because what you're saying is that's most important, right? It's like you don't want to lose that energy and be fumbling or fumbling the bag, as they would
Yeah,
say, right? And so let's talk about, fumbling the bag. Why is, planning important for us to be able to really increase our profits? You said that, you've seen clients who are 3xing their revenues as a result of planning for the next 90 days. So can you
yeah.
talk about how planning and profits work together, and how that will work together for us for Q1 in 2023?
Absolutely. So it's mostly about focus and energy, right? So once I have established what their plan is and what strategies I'm going to implement, now I am focused on that. So many times we are easily distracted by everything that's going on in the market, what somebody else is doing, and things like that. When you have your plan and you're focused on that, you execute at a higher level. Not only do you execute at a higher level, now it's more quality, right? I'm not doing all of the things. I'm doing only the things that I need to do to meet this goal. And I'm not focused on all of the stuff. And that is normally what helps you propel your business to the next level. So it's that level of focus and the energy that you are exerting towards the things that you want to accomplish. And that's why I always say that your goals have to have meaning, because when you have meaning, it helps to drive you. I know why I'm doing this thing. I'm not trying to, make $100,000 because everybody else says that, oh,
Six
six
figure
figures. No,
business.
I have skin in the game. This means
Yeah,
something to me. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And whatever that is, hiring more people, being able to do more in your community, time freedom, being able to spend more time, like it means something to me,
yeah.
So yeah, I want to do it, because if not, there's a lot that's on the table to be lost.
Yeah. And then the thing too is like, six figure business, it might not be six figures that you need when you really think about, I know that right now we're talking about, business goals, but, even if you think about your own like financial goals, if you start working with that, it's like, all right, well, how much do I really, really need to
Right.
be comfortable to really scale, to be able to hire other people to support me with my business? So I'm no longer solopreneur in it and doing all the things, but I can really, focus on my precision plan, the plan
Right.
that's gonna, drive me to my revenue goal or my growth goal for my business, So I think that that's so important. I think we kind of covered it a bit before, but I still want to just kind of narrow down and focus in on this, right? What is the biggest roadblock that you've seen from your clients when it comes to planning? Like, what is that one thing that's really stopping them from for not only plan, I'm not even gonna say execution, I'm gonna start with the planning part of it. Maybe we'll talk about the planning. I think earlier we talked about the execution part of it, so let's talk about what is that thing that's stopping them, holding them back from planning.
Mindset. It's mindset. And
Oh,
the thing about it is, we hear this so much because everybody says it. But so here is the thing. Most of us feel like we have to be doing all of the things. And if I'm not doing all of the things, I'm not doing enough. It's about doing the right things, not all of the things. All of the things don't matter. All of the things are not in alignment with your vision and your goals. And all of the things don't need to be done by you. So, mindset is the
preaching,
thing.
preaching for the people.
It really is. It's the
It
thing
just
that I
I have to
learned.
be free yourself today. Thou art loose.
Right. So when I say, so one of the things I say, establish one growth goal, right?
Mhm.
This goal is the goal that is truly going to make a difference in your business. So one goal, growth goal. Everything else is a supporting goal that's going to support you to getting to where it is that you want to go, right? Because this is what matters, because this
Mhm.
ties into my vision. When people see that, it's like, but what about this? What about it? Like, what about it? You know what I mean? You
Yeah, yeah.
literally, that's it. You have to have tunnel vision when it comes to your goals. And when you do that, you're doing, it feels like you're doing less. But one of the things that I tell people is that now you have a higher quality of work, right? So
Mm.
if one of my supporting goals required me to be more, more visibility. Like, so I'm going to be on social media and I'm posting content. The level of quality that I have now, right, is going to be a higher quality because now I'm not just posting crap just to be posting it. This is tied into my goal. I'm tracking the engagement. I'm tracking people coming back to my website. I'm tracking what works and what doesn't work. It takes you to a whole nother level, you know.
Ooh, that.
So it boils down to mindset. You don't have to do all the things in order to have the business that you desire. That's what I'm gonna say. In order for you to achieve your next level, you don't have to do all of the things. And the second thing I would say, just to add on to that, is delegate, right? So a lot of times we feel like we cannot hire somebody in our business because we don't have any money. So one of the things that I help my clients work through, right? Maybe you just need somebody to help you through certain periods when you're working on projects. Maybe you need to hire a doer instead of a thinker, which is a whole lot cheaper. Establish what it is that you need and the times that you need them and start there. So maybe you can't afford to have a virtual assistant work with you full time every single month, but that doesn't mean that you can't have help within your business. So it's all about shifting your perspective and how you look at things. And that's one of the things that we work through in precision planning.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. As you were talking about, how does posting on social media tie into your overall growth goal? I wanted to know if you could give an example for what is that growth goal, right? And what are some of those supporting metrics that you need to be tracking or things that you need to be doing?
Okay. So, and maybe we'll use something related to events, right? So, since that's
Yes.
what we're talking about. So, I always recommend that you establish your goal for the year. So, your growth goal could be I want to grow my business by 50%, right? Or you may have a specific number that you want to meet. Another growth goal could be I want to serve so many people in my business. That's a growth goal. So, maybe I work with 100 entrepreneurs last year. This year, I want to work with 250. That's your growth goal. And then you're going to break that down by quarter, by month, by week, right? So, one of the things, a supporting goal would be maybe I am going to have webinars or workshops every other month. And that is going to help me to build my list, to grow visibility, and then help with converting people into my program. So depending on what it is that I'm doing, that's what I'm going to track. So if it's a webinar, let's just say, for instance, a webinar, I'm going to track how many people sign up versus how many people actually showed up. Out of the people that showed up, how many people converted into a paying product, right? And then there's some other things that we're going to track from an email marketing perspective. But just from that webinar engagement, that is going to be some of the things that I would track, right? And I'm talking about even tracking to how many people hit the page and didn't sign up. So 100 people came to the page, you know what I mean? 50 people signed up, 20 people showed up. Out of the 25 people, 5 people bought. Tracking that so that you understand how this relates into your overall arching growth goal, right? And then how do you impact those numbers? Because that's the biggest thing, right? So when they were hitting the landing page, where did they come from? So maybe there's places that I need to show up on more of a regular basis because I say, oh, I see a lot of people coming from Instagram. I'm going to put more effort in Instagram, right? Than spending my time on TikTok or LinkedIn. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I work with micro business owners, and by tracking these numbers, it helps you to determine where you need to put forth more effort or not, and not spreading yourself all over the place.
I love that for sure because like I was telling you the Excel spreadsheet that you I can't remember what was it called? Like goal tracking or goal setting, I can't remember. But
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It was
So
a
what I
90-day one, right?
Yeah, I think it was like a 90-day tracker. And
Yeah.
so within it, I put in what is industry standard in terms of like conversion, right? And I'm all right, it's probably between like 15 to 20%. So that means that I need this amount of people in order to hit the conversion goal that you're talking about. And I even saw something the other day, and I have to look a little bit more deeply into this, and I'll probably talk about it at some future point on the podcast. Is there is a heat map? I'm not sure, can't remember what the name of the company is, but essentially a heat map that you can see, you could track how users are on your page. Like at what point do they hit that sign up or that buy button, right? Like what are the actions that they're taking? And I think that even that goes down to a whole nother like granular level of, all right, well, maybe there's something that I need to tweak on this landing page or on the website. But I love that what you talked about in terms of like tracking everything. It's like, all right, well, if I'm seeing that more people are coming from Instagram, then maybe I need to play a little bit more on Instagram and not feel like I need to be on TikTok because TikTok is trendy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how about I focus my attention and energy at the place where I'm going to get the biggest bang for my buck? So I love that. I love that. Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Tonya. I'm like, wait a minute. That's the Jamaican coming out of me, Tonya.
Yep.
So Tonya, yeah. So what is one last gem that you want to leave with us? You know, that could be something that we haven't spoken about here today, or, you know, just one action step that you feel that listeners need to take after having listened to this episode.
I would say get help. And the reason why I say that is because if your goal is big enough, if your growth goal is big enough, chances are you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. And that help could look like, I'm not saying that you have to get precision planning. So it may look like a consultant helping you to map this out. It may look like, you know, like I said, a doer versus a thinker to actually help you execute some of the things or take some of the things off your plate so that you can execute more. But go back and establish what it is that you need help for and be ready and willing to invest what you need to invest. Because like I said, if your goal is big enough, you're going to need support.
Ooh, and that's it, folks. That's it right there. Get you some help. Okay. Get some help. Like, don't feel like you have to do it by yourself. And as Tonya just said, it's like if your goal is big enough, if that dream is big enough, then you're gonna need the support of other people to help you get there. Because by doing it on your own, you're really only slowing down your own progress. So tell people how they can find you online or how they could work with you.
Cignal Partners. So if you
she got the branded shirt going on, y'all.
if you see this shirt, you know it's me, no matter how
you already know.
But Cignal Partners on most platforms, and then on LinkedIn, Tonya D Harrison.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much for being here with me, Tonya. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys really picked up all these gems that were dropped. You know, think about what your vision for your business is, have that growth goal, and then break down those steps and do that precision planning to break down those steps and really put those steps into action so that you can meet your goal. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.